Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. We are going to just give everyone a minute or two more to sign on and make sure we get as many of you on here as possible before we start. So glad to have you here.
Yeah, a lot of great folks on, Jake. Some incredible dioceses and parishes throughout the country. This is great. We're just happy to see you guys.
Yeah, this is awesome. There's some names already here in the attendee list that I recognize.
Hey, Cindy, we were just emailing. She just missed me on the phone, but we got her set up. Hey, Ellen.
I see Shannon from Prince of Peace. Prince of Peace, if you guys didn't know, that's my alma mater. So
you guys look festive in your fireside chat here. You got the clothing on and all. So.
Yeah. No, we figured if it was going to be a fireside chat, our background should certainly should reflect that. So
that's great. That's great.
Hey, Doug, I see Doug from ADW's on here. I know I can't see you, but want to say hi.
Can't forget Christine from Brooklyn's on too. Christian.
Dad and Bernadette.
Joanne. Hi, hey, Joanne, how's it going?
This is a big circle around the fire, so we have plenty of room for everybody.
Nelsa. Hey, I see Nelsa. We know her. This is awesome. So many people that we know. This is just great. Christian Rada from the Diocese of Brooklyn. Welcome, Christian.
Good to see you. Press team there too. So good to see you guys too.
Okay, so if anyone's having sound issues, it looks like a couple things have come through the chat. Just double check that you don't have a Bluetooth device connected to your computer or your phone. Make sure you're unmuted as far as the speakers go. But it looks like most people are doing okay, so hopefully we can get it resolved on your end. All right, so it's 1:03. We will start now. Looks like we have a good group of you on already. So this will be recorded, and you'll get a recording of this if you've registered and weren't able to attend live or were able to join us here today. So keep an eye out for that email. And then I will just do some housekeeping items before I let Rich kick this off. As we're going through the fireside chat with you all, if you do have any questions you'd like us to address at the end of the webinar, feel free to click the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and you can ask us questions here live that we'll address at the end. So, all right, Rich, it's all you.
Hey, Jake, do me a favor. Kick us off with just a real quick, simple prayer.
Sure, absolutely. Right. Okay, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, thank you for this opportunity to join together from all parts of the country. Help us to rally around each other, rally around our communities, our families, our loved ones, our parishes, schools, students. Keep us on the path, guide us along that path, help us to mitigate the fears and the uncertainties that are ahead of us. We believe that you hold the keys, you hold the plan, you hold everything, our futures, and we just commend it to you. We ask for your help, and we will try not to get in the way. Amen.
Amen. Good job, Jake. Well, hey, thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm Rich Bartlett. My wife and I, Denna, co-founded My Catholic Faith Delivered and Catholic Faith Technologies with an incredible team of others around us. It's just been a blessing. So, we acknowledge that everybody is in, challenging times right now. And, we want you to know that we're here to serve you and to serve those that are navigating this crisis together. So our goal has always been to provide, a unique solution that we can empower you with all the resources, to not only educate and manage, in new creative ways, but to use technology to enhance, the personal connection with your community. You know, we've developed some award-winning technology, both on the corporate side, but our passion and our heart is in the Catholic Church. And that's what gets us out of bed every day. This winning technology from that standpoint allows us to, help parishes, schools, and dioceses connect, to cultivate and flourish, in this ever-changing world. So, we want you to connect by adding groups and classes, cultivate to grow in knowledge, connect that social community, flourish and reach people where they are, and using a vehicle that, has become commonplace in our new reality of life. So, thank you so much for, again, everything that you do. And we are here to serve you, like I said before, and we hope this is just a nice little kickoff to help answer some questions for all of you. I'd like to introduce Jake Schmitz, which he was wonderful enough to give us our prayer this morning. Ryan Johnson, these guys are the glue that holds a lot of this together with the rest of our team behind the scenes. And they're here to, basically answer, a lot of your questions. And so we hope that you pose us some questions. We'll obviously facilitate a little bit here. We've received some, pre-questions up to this point. So hence why we were driving on, a few of these questions as we go forward. Just click the hand button on your screen, and then we'll know that a question is arising, and then we'll curtail the process to help answer that. We pray for, like Jake did, your health and protection during this time. And, we're blessed to have you join us today. I know you're busy, and thank you. And hopefully we can help comfort you as you go through this journey with us together as well. Keep the overall effort, continue creating that missionary disciples throughout your parishes and schools, and we'll help you do it through the online effort. We'll do the heavy lifting for you. Please be calm and prayerfully, just know that we're here to help you facilitate it. So I'm going to kick it off to you, Jake, and I will go ahead and go on mute. And again, thank you guys, and we'll keep chatting through it.
Yeah, so Ryan and I, we've been talking to a lot of you. I know there's some familiar faces, there's some new faces here in the attendee list, but honestly, this whole thing came about because we've been on the phone quite a bit with you all. We've been emailing a lot, and we keep getting some of these same questions that pop up. So a lot of them, end up going into the details about your certain parish, your certain community. But overall, I think there are a couple questions that if we could have the opportunity to just sit around a campfire or, around a fireplace and just talk through it, this is kind of how that conversation would go. So Ryan, he heads off our support team. I head off onboarding with a lot of these parishes and schools. And Ryan, I don't know about you, but one of the first questions that normally comes out of people's mouths is literally, so how does this work exactly?
Sure.
So
we hear that a lot. Yeah.
So
that's a good question. It's a good question, right? It's something everyone wants to know, and I think it's great if we can bring some clarity to that for everyone today.
And moving your program online, it can seem daunting. It can seem like we're giving up on the in-person meetings, and that's totally not the case. Normally it takes a while for people to warm up to this idea. And so how it does work exactly is we get your parish or school set up in our system. We verify the account. We set up a local user admin. So whether it's you as a DRE, a principal, or an assistant managing the program for enrollments, we get you set up, we get your user going, and then you are able to purchase seats per grade level for your student base, for your user base. And that's really it. That is how the logistics happen. On the flip side, though, I think the other question that's kind of lurking there is, how does that really happen, though? Do the kids, they're logging in, they're in the comfort of their home, normally with their parents or their other siblings. mom and dad are listening to it in the background, and you as the admin of your group, or even as just as a catechist, you can see in real time the total amount of time that they're spending in the lesson, the answers that they're giving to these questions, which chapter they're on, etc. So that can explode as far as how you do your program. But having it online, that's really the gist of it. I don't know if I missed anything there, Ryan, when you're talking to people, but that's, how does this exactly work? That's really the gist of it.
Yeah, and I think you alluded to it earlier, but I think it's really important that we never intend or would recommend that this program completely replace a catechist, or replace instruction that happens in the classroom or with students on site. Now, certainly right now, in the environment that we're in, I know that that's not possible, but really having this online and utilizing our platform really allows you to flip the classroom and to give your students a baseline knowledge, understand where they might be deficient or where they're strong, and then when you have them with you, you really can spend that time doing activities that enhance learning, as opposed to trying to teach that baseline concept. I don't know if you want to expand on that at all, but I think this gives you the ability to really flip the classroom.
Yeah, and I think as we move forward and as we start to come up with plans for the fall, we're happy to help figure that out and get your group going if you need access to preview things. I know we have a couple diocesan folks here on the webinar with us, or that registered for it. And I'm sure you're looking at this too in the capacity of, what are each of my parishes going to do? What are each of my schools going to be able to do? How does this online religious education really work? And so we just wanted to kind of demystify that process, let you know the reason for this setup and verifying the account, getting the user going. We are dealing with minors. A lot of these students are minors in the system. And so it's designed to accommodate that type of user base. There are protocols and COPA compliancy things that are all wrapped into the process. So at first it might seem tedious, it might seem daunting, but know that we're doing it the right way, and we're future-proofing the program. And so helping you with this online tool is just a great way to ensure that they're still going to get their religious education in one form or the other. We will make sure this moves forward.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of close that off, if there are specific questions, I mean, we're certainly going to answer questions today, but if there's specific questions or questions that are specific to your program, call us or shoot us an email. Let us help you, or let us be there to support you in this. I mean, these are challenging times for all of us, and thank you to all of you out there that are here, that are doing this work to serve families, to serve children, to serve the church during the time where I think we all would agree this is so needed, and we want to be there to serve you. So just please continue to communicate with us. If there are things that you might need, we can be there, as a resource and as a help. So,
well, and Ryan too, I mean, and thank you guys for your patience so much, because,
Yeah.
in the last 45 days, we've onboarded, almost 1,000 parishes and schools. And I know we couldn't get to you immediately, but now that it's kind of, this has spread out a little bit, now we can. And like we've said 100 times, and this is how our heart feels, is we're here to serve you. So, be patient with us. Thank you for your grace. And, we'll continue to serve.
Yeah, and once you are in the system too, it was worth noting, I have a little screenshot here of what your screen looks like. But we have been populating the resource library with plenty of content as far as, how do I tackle this new process? How do I enroll my kiddos? How do I add a catechist? How do I reset a login or a password? So when you log in the very top menu bar, as you can see there, click on resources, click on library, and you'll see all this great training material that we've been populating the library with. That'll guarantee that you have what you need printed out, keep it on an iPad next to you and walk step by step through the different processes, because we recognize it is a lot to tackle. It can be something new for a lot of us trying to move online. And so we're doing our best to come up with some of the things that you'll need to go through those processes.
Yep. And one thing that we're continuing to do on the support side is, we're aggregating some of the common questions that we're getting, and we're really working on then developing resources that can continue to answer those. So, if you have a question, the odds are, someone else has the same question. And so one, it's okay to reach out to us and ask. There's no such thing as a dumb question. If you need any sort of help, that's why we're here. But the good thing is when you do that, if 5 other people ask the same question, that helps us to understand where there might be a gap in these resources. And then we can, of course, get something put together to continue to assist you if you forget down the road, or you have someone else that's helping you. Now you have some resources you can utilize. So please reach out as you have those questions. That will really, really help us to continue to grow the content that we're able to provide you here.
Yeah. So Ryan, another question that basically comes up right afterwards. Pretty much everybody asks the same thing. So, how has this worked in other parishes and schools? Because,
Sure.
Just like you said, if someone has one question, normally most others will have a similar question, if not the very exact same one. So something I get asked all the time is, how has this worked in other parishes? And the stories we have of
cool. It's really cool getting to talk to people and hear their stories and how they're using it and the success they're having.
Well, guys, I mean, those parishes are willing to share with you guys and take these calls because they're living in the same world that you are. So, it's a blessing too to have such a great community to say, hey, this has worked for me, and maybe avoid a few speed bumps from things that may not have worked. So, that's a value too that a lot of these catechists as well as DREs are willing to share as we go along.
Yeah. So Ryan, I don't know, recently, I mean, we've talked to so many people, it's almost hard to keep them all straight, but
yeah,
I've talked to small rural parishes in Western Kansas where our offices are located in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yep.
So we've got a couple folks like that. We've also talked to really large parishes that have over 1,000 families, well over 400 kiddos, and the need is still the same. We're all still trying to figure out, how can we continue to serve our families? How can we continue to pass on the faith to the next generation?
Yep.
And we alluded kind of anecdotally to how the beauty of the kiddo going home, doing the lesson online, most of the text, if not all the text, is voiced over. So mom and dad are listening to it in the background. We have kids of our own, and we're constantly told, you're the primary educator.
You're the domestic church, right? And that's a great task. It's exciting, but sometimes it's like, how do you live that out, right? I mean, and I know we're not the only ones that feel that way. I know we're not,
Yep.
And I think that the beauty of this is, parents are asked, and godparents, of course, at baptism are asked to be the primary teachers of the faith. And it's one thing to have that responsibility. And of course, we take that responsibility seriously. And I know there's so many parents out there that do, but sometimes they don't always have the resources to know how to do that, or, and so I think that this gives them some of those resources. And we've heard stories of, Joe is sitting at the kitchen table doing his, faith and life online, and mom or dad is cooking dinner and they're listening, and they're, we talk to parents, hey, I learned something that I didn't know about my faith. And it does give parents some of those tools, to be able to form their kids or can, help them on that journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just talked to a parish in Austin. I know this isn't directly related to elementary education, at least, but they had a marriage prep retreat over the weekend that they had to basically do via Zoom, like we are on a webinar now. And to follow up with that, we have an online marriage prep course that they all enrolled in after the retreat, just to make sure that, hey, we're covering the bases. We don't know when the big day is going to happen. It's going to, but we just don't know when.
Yep.
And now they're doing what they can to ensure that they're at least spiritually ready, and then we'll get the logistics figured out. But, you know, similarly with this religious education, there was one student that we talked to their school right before all this happened, and she had been signed up all year. You know, family had some troubles throughout the school year, wasn't able to get to it,
Yep.
but they still have the 3 months of the summer left. So she called and said, hey, you know, can we resend this login? Can we get this kiddo fired back up? They're motivated now. They've worked through some things. The family's ready to do this. And yeah, the beauty of it is, even if they're not in session right now, they still have, you know, 3 months to finish this up and get it done. So
Yeah.
just being able to accommodate everyone's schedule, everyone's, you know, lifestyle, the times have changed. I'm scared about, you know, the world my kids have to grow up in soon.
Sure.
And you know, we have to be able to meet them where they're at. We talk continually about how they're digital natives. Like my 2-year-old can grab my phone and knows how to use it, and that scares me. You know, they're natives to this digital land, and we're kind of immigrants. You know, the iPod came out when we were young, or you know, and you know, we didn't grow up with these things in our hands. So
I had a flip phone. That was my first phone. Yeah.
we won't even get into rotary phones.
E9 texting.
We'll keep it
Yeah,
at flip
yeah.
phones. So
yeah.
some cool news to share with everybody though, and it's really exciting, I think.
Yeah.
This is a heat map, if you will, of all of the different groups that have onboarded with My Catholic Faith Delivered since the middle of March, when everyone was kind of starting to get into the rhythm of the stay-at-home orders, depending on where you live, you know, what your local communities were dictating. But there's quite a bit of activity going on. We've, like Rich said, we've onboarded almost 1,000. We're hoping to get there. We are hoping to help as many people as possible, but we're talking well over 20,000 students that, you know, through June are getting pretty much free access to close out the year, get 2020 in the books, and then we'll worry about 2021. But that's parishes, schools, homeschool groups, and co-ops. This spans 152 different dioceses in the U.S.
It's amazing.
And I will say in the world. We've got people from the UK,
New Zealand. I've talked to a few parishes in New Zealand.
New Zealand, Australia, Scotland, Glasgow, Scotland,
Yep.
Thailand, India. So we don't, you know, the map of the world is too big to fit here on one screen, but in the US at least, this is what it looks like. And kudos to you guys, to everybody that's on this call. You've gotten out ahead of the game. You're trying to figure it out. We are in this together. Just know that this map is a representation of just what's happened in the past 6 weeks or so, but we're happy to connect you with other parishes, other schools, other, you know, people that have been using this in your area even,
Yep.
just to kind of have this same exact encounter, right? Just how's it going? How has it actually worked in your parish? How does this work exactly?
Yeah. Well, and I think Jake, that's the beauty of our platform and of having the Faith and Life series online, is you have that same baseline text, of course, and you get what, you know, you have the material. But we also understand that the challenges that one parish face might not be exactly the same as the challenges another parish faces, based on demographics, based on, you know, the state of the coronavirus in your state. I mean, there's all of these different things that play into that, right? So I think the beauty of even looking at this, and just the beauty of the role, you know, what we want to do is, you know, we can connect you with other people who might have similar challenges and also might have some really good ideas for solutions, or be doing some innovative things, and we can connect you and you know, help you to work together to share knowledge, share resources. And like you said, we are all in this together. We want to serve, you know, and we're happy to, you know, to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, and in future webinars, because this will definitely not be the only webinar, but in future webinars, we'd love to connect you with some of those content experts, with some of the subject matter experts. They can tell their story of how it's worked out. I know you've probably heard the concept flipping your classroom. Having the curriculum online allows you to do that very easily, but essentially it will free up the time that you spend in person with them to truly focus on faith-based activities where they can dive deeper into the material you're going over or the truths of the faith that they're covering in that moment. The typical story I like to tell is the one parish that in the month of May, they were all doing their coursework online, so they knew it was still humming along. But because it's the month of May, it's the month of Our Lady, they wanted to dive deeper into Mary, her motherhood, the rosary. Some kids still didn't know how to pray the rosary. So
Yep.
one of the meetings they spent learning how to pray the rosary and making rosaries. And then the next time they met, they were actually sharing those rosaries with others, like in a nursing home, I think it was, or within the community. So that's the beauty of being able to shift to online to continue ensuring consistent, solid catechesis, but also the evangelization aspect when you're in person, having that precious face-to-face time with them. Because like we said early on, we're not here to replace that. We're only here to enhance it. So
Well, and it helps. I say this, sort of jokingly, but it is true. I mean, there are so many concepts in our faith that are complex. I mean, teaching someone about transubstantiation or teaching someone about the Trinity. I mean, these are sort of like concepts like 3 in 1, like, and how do we teach kids those? The nice thing about flipping the classroom is, yes, they're going to have some baseline knowledge, so you don't have to spend an hour herding cats and trying to teach them about transubstantiation. They may have a baseline bit of knowledge. Now you can do a fun activity that really brings it home for them or brings it to life or helps to explain it more. And I think that's the value. When we're talking about complex topics, it just gives you another tool in the toolbox to help you to bring that to life for the kids. So
absolutely. Okay, so because these phone calls are happening now and a lot of emails are coming in now, the other question that continually happens to pop up is, what is your plan for the fall? And that, I think that is the $1,000,000 question right now.
yep.
Everybody is wondering, what is my plan? What is your plan? And talking with some of our diocesan partners, talking with a lot of DREs across the country recently, we've seen there's kind of two reactions, and I don't know if this is like a personality thing or just this is how we've seen it, but there's some that are okay with the uncertainty and will roll with it. In a certain sense, life has been so hectic that it really doesn't seem any different. We're still struggling to reach our families. We're still struggling to make sure this program plows through and continues on. And coronavirus or no, it's still as difficult as it was before to reach everybody. And then there's the other camp that kind of like me, where we're freaking out. We don't have a plan. We don't know what's going on, and it's hard to roll with it. So rolling with it or freaking out. And not to make this a plug or anything, but I do think in face of this uncertainty, there's two outcomes. Either you're going to be able to meet in person at some point in time, or you're not. And so shifting online, moving online, kind of future proofs you for either case, right? Obviously, the optimal would be that we can move back to life as normal, but here in Kansas, that might be sooner or later than Denver or New York or Florida or California. We just don't know based on your geography what's going to happen. Here, the state's saying one thing and the county's telling us something else, which is totally within their right. So there is a lot of uncertainty, and you said it perfectly. We're in this together. We're also experiencing the same, trying to roll with it, but trying not to freak out, reactions. But I do think whether we can get together, or depending on when we'll be able to get together or not, moving things online is going to ensure that come September or August, whenever your community is used to rolling out the program, you'll be ready for it. And that it's not to say that it's a silver bullet and it's going to solve everyone's problems. It's definitely a tool that's going to allow you to build up your community, create the virtual environment to continue to accompany them, to help them encounter our Lord, to help them encounter each other, because they can collaborate virtually there too, with their classmates and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, is that just me, or have you had
No,
this
I mean,
kind of conversations?
I'm feeling the same thing. And Rich, I know you are too. I mean, my one of my high school coaches always used to tell me that success is when opportunity meets preparation, and I've always believed that I think that there's an opportunity now, to find a way to have that successful program in the fall, whether you can meet in person or not. But the one thing that I think is important, and we've alluded to it a lot, is that no matter what happens in the fall, whether you can meet in person or not, we will be here to serve you, to support you, to encourage you if you need that. I mean, whatever it is, we I like to think of my role, especially in support, as and to kind of coin a church term, the servant of the servants, right? Like, you all are out there doing God's work, being his hands and feet in your parishes, in your communities, and it's inspiring for me, and I want to do my part to and I think all of us feel that way. Rich, I know you do, Jake, the rest of our team, to support you and to serve you, no matter the challenges that come, because there's going to be challenges, whether it's coronavirus or whether you're struggling with something else in your parish, whatever. We want to help you, and so I think as you plan for the fall, keep that in mind, that we want to be a resource. If you want to bounce ideas off of, or if you have questions about something, we want to be there for that. I don't know, Rich, it sounded like you maybe had something to add as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, truly, just like I'm looking at quite a few of these questions, and we have incredible DREs that have just are on this thread saying, hey, I've been doing this 4 to 5 years. Feel free to contact me. I am just blown away.
Awesome.
The thread here of going on, others that are willing to help you. So, everything from, can you use a credit card? How do you assign seats? All these different things, we can answer those questions relatively quickly, both from a resource library, as well as, if you reach out to us, whether it's email, whatever's convenient for you. The beauty is that we've been doing this for 8 years and had an incredible partner with Ignatius Press to be able to pull this off. If we haven't seen it, I promise we can ask a question of a DRE out there that may have seen it. So
sure.
Again, great. I mean, the thread's getting full here. This is wonderful. And a lot of them, a common, theme. So that's great. And a lot of these questions we can answer, like I said, in the resource library and other things, as well as, we're going to have a follow-up webinar probably next week. And an incredibly talented, folks just like yourselves out there, Bernadette and Sandra have been doing this, quite a few years, and have created resources behind the scenes to help us help you. And Bernadette's been gracious enough to say that she'd love to help. And she's just a wonderful, wonderful, lady, and incredibly gifted in the sense of doing the things that she does. And we're just honored. From my perspective, there's a lot of resources. Brooklyn has incredible resources from the diocesan perspective. If your diocese, is one of our diocesan partners, they know a lot about this as well. And we're happy to kind of lead that path back to you, to those folks. Ted and Christine, in terms of educating catechists and their catechist certification programs, have been unbelievable. It gives them the faith, meaning as a catechist, to pass on that faith to the kiddos in a very comforting way. So, no, this is great, guys. The one thing also keep in mind, these courses are in Spanish, and I took a call not too long ago from a wonderful lady in Brooklyn that is primarily Spanish speaking and English is a second language, but her kiddos are really well versed in terms of English. But she wanted to help her child go through the coursework, and she can toggle back and forth between Spanish and English. So she can actually see it in Spanish, which is helpful sometimes. So, you know, there's just a lot of things that I think that can create value and that can create comfort to you too as we go forward.
That's a great point. And yeah, I just think it's we have a beautiful Catholic church, a beautiful community, and I think you know, that just shows it's super inspiring to see. And Joanne, I've gotten the pleasure of working with her. She's a great DRE, and it's awesome to see her jump in the thread and offer support to others. That's just really cool.
Yeah, and something, you know, to get into some of the details for fall, we are in discussions right now about what are ways we can creatively support you with given the unique circumstances. So we are hoping to be able to open up to you the resource kits per grade, which involves the family guide, the parish catechist manual, as well as the teacher's manual. Those are all pieces of content, resources that DREs, catechists, teachers can benefit from immensely just with your login. So it's you'll have everything at your fingertips you would need to draw from for your program. So that is something to keep in mind for the fall. Those resources will be available to you as an instructor, as a user admin of your group, etc. And then also, you know, we won't get into the actual details around pricing today, but just know that, you know, I think everyone's in this together, everyone's heart is in the right place, and we're trying to figure out creative ways to make it more accessible, whether you have a large group, a small group. Financially speaking, there will be ways to make this more accessible. So as we continue to nail down those plans and roll it out for the summer, as you're getting enrollments lined up, just keep an eye out for that, and know that I think everyone's trying to figure this out and how it can be done to make it just accessible for everyone. So
yeah, and Cindy asked a great question. You know, the payment options. You know, they can use credit cards, whether the family's using it, whether the parish is using it. They can create a PO, and all we do is send an invoice to them to get going. You know, she also had a second question of, you know, having a virtual parent meeting, which is an awesome idea. And it's not hard to pull off. We can kind of coach you from the backside, just like we're doing with our webinar today. There's a ton of resources, whether it's Zoom, WebEx, GoToMeeting. There's a bunch of them that are free too. So, you know, again, we're happy to help you outside of our realm. We're here to carry on our faith from one generation to the next. You know, so the kiddos have a full year to use these, and just like now, who thought that, you know, School of Religion would go into probably June or July? We didn't know. Usually it kind of wraps up at Easter or around there. Now, I mean, you know, and it's open for a full year for those kiddos that maybe and things like that. So great questions that are coming through. Really appreciate it. Keep firing away at us.
Yeah. And actually to Rich's point, and Jake, you've been instrumental. I know you've put something together, but we actually have some resources that you could even potentially use in your parent meeting. I think we have you know, some stuff that's kind of generally put together, like a PowerPoint or some things that we could always share that you may want to take and modify a little bit. But there's some stuff we have that we'd be happy to share with you if you'd like to do that. So that's where, you know, if you reach out to us and you say, hey, we're using the program, this isn't really, you know, this is, you know, we want to have a virtual parent meeting. Do you have any resources you can share? If they're not in the library and we have them, we'll certainly get them in the library, but we'll also, you know, share them with you and be happy to help make your job as easy as it can be, and you to communicate effectively with the parents.
Yeah, so along with that.
I apologize, I don't mean to step on you. One thing, this is really important because it's, I have a daughter that's dyslexic. One of the things on the special needs kiddos, we get a lot of this, that the way that we deliver this program in terms of the learning styles from audio to visual to textual, it answers a lot of those questions in terms of being able to help these kiddos learn that may have special needs. So, you know, a great question or a great feedback from Joanne, and truly appreciate it, Joanne. She's awesome, by the way. She's been very helpful to us.
Yeah, so one of the last things around, you know, what is your plan for the fall, just so that it's clear for people too. You know, the courses that are available are the Faith and Life series through Ignatius Press. So we've converted that whole textbook into an online course, as well as the Didache series through Midwest Theological Forum for high schoolers or more advanced students. So whether you're a homeschool, a school, or a parish, just know that these are the curriculums that we can plug and play into your program along with our online platform. And that will, you know, that kind of leads us into a lot of these questions that have come through. I know there's been a stream of them and we've tried to answer them as they pop up. But on our website, if you click on course library, so under mycatholicfaithdelivered.com, if you click on the course library there, that drop down has courses from our diocesan partners, from other publishers, things that you would be able to benefit from. But as far as your religious education program goes, it is the Faith and Life series online and the Didache series. So guys, we've had some awesome questions in here, and I really want to make sure we get to most of them. So
one that I've seen a couple of times, Jake, is questions about, you know, there's people that don't currently aren't currently using the online version, but would like to kind of preview it, you know, in preparation for the fall.
Sure.
And we've had some questions to our support desk about that, and when we're happy to set up, and you know, if you want to elaborate on this at all, but we're happy to set up demo accounts for you so you can get in, you can see the material, you have access to the platform, can see the collaborations and some of the other functionality that exists. And really, I think the best way is if people want to email us at support and let us know that they'd like, you know, a demo account. I mean, we'd be happy to set that up.
Yeah, normally you get about 30 days of just full unfettered access to the curriculum.
Yep.
And we have no problem extending that too. We know things get busy, and sometimes people have called us back and said, hey, I had 30 days. I never got around to it. Can I get it opened up again?
Sure.
We're happy to do that for you to evaluate. Another question was, you know, what do we offer in forms of collaboration between catechists, communication with families, and even online meetings? So there's a lot to unpack there, Mary, but baked into each course, each class, an instructor, so a catechist, a DRE, a teacher, can start collaboration threads. So it's almost like a mini social media, but it's behind a safe login here in My Catholic Faith Delivered. You're able to pose questions to the children, post videos or other resources that supplement the material and say, hey, share your thoughts. What do you think about this? So the collaboration feature is great. And then if, you know, as needs come up and announcements need to be made, we do have a send emails page now too, that you can email specific grades or the whole group as a whole. And that way you're not managing it out of your Outlook or your email, but you have everyone's contact information right there from their enrollments, and you can send out these messages and you can template them. So if it's a reminder email, you can just spool that up again the next month and send it out again to everybody. So that those are two really great ways we use, you know, communications within the system. We don't have a native, you know, Zoom meeting or GoToMeeting, but you can paste those links into your group page. And when they log in, they can see that there. You can email it out to everybody and use those platforms to connect with your families.
And one of the cool things too, Jake, with the emails is you do get some analytics back. You'll be able to see, you know, if the emails were opened, how many times they were opened, did they get bounced because maybe you have a bad email and you don't know it. You get some of that data back, and that can be really helpful because, you know, it's great if you can communicate, but not only, you know, you can do that, but also get that data back, which can be super, super helpful. So that's just something related to communications that I think is valuable.
So John, we had two questions, Jake, here on John and Chris on, yes, there's plenty of courses for, you know, adults, family members, like we mentioned too. A lot of our diocesan partners use this for catechist certification. So a lot of those courses are taken by individual parents that just want to know more about their faith. So yes, Jake, I think, pulled up the library and he's had it circled. You can find a lot of this on the front side of that page, and you can direct your parents to find those courses, as well as catechists if they want to know about pedagogy and, things like that. I hope I answered that. But yes, you can find a lot of resources there too, not just for the kiddos. So.
Yep. We also got a question that I think is would be helpful to answer. They asked, specifically, how long does the student to paraphrase, but how long does the student have access to the material? So they're asking if it's, July to June or what that is. And I think it'd be great if we just clarify that the student has access for 365 days from the date that they're signed up. So let's say you start in September, they're going to have access from September 1st to September 1st of the next year, essentially, right? So they have like 365 days. So it really is dependent on when you sign them up, and that's when that starts. It's not necessarily tied to a July to the end of June timeframe or something like that. I don't know if you want to elaborate or add anything, Jake, but that was just a question that came in.
No, it's understandable. And if someone gets signed up in December or mid-year or later on, that user will still have access to that curriculum for a full year from the date of sign up. So that's a totally valid question. Another great question was, does each individual catechist have access to a student's report so they can shape the next lesson, based on the pre-assessment questions or the post-assessment answers? And the answer is yes. As an instructor of a class, you have access to those kiddos, their information, the amount of time they've spent in each lesson, how many times they took the assessments in the lesson, the best score they got, the average score they got. All of that information is at your fingertips. And a great story I've had from a catechist was, she said, well, last year we did books, and the families would sign off and say, we've read this chapter or we've read this thing. And she's seen the reality was a couple of their students weren't. She saw 0% progress in this chapter or that chapter, and almost in tears, like, what do I do? And it's a tough reality, right? That's what we signed up to do when we decided to walk the faith with these people. And if that's what we're seeing, if the numbers don't lie, if the data doesn't lie, that just gives you a little bit more insight into how can I help this family? How do they need more support? Maybe they just didn't know how to log in, and that's all it is. Maybe they didn't understand that, we're not doing books this year and we're supposed to be doing it online this year. So just having that insight, I think, is taking your program to the next level, in the sense that now you know how to accompany them the way they need to be accompanied. So that's a long-winded answer to that short question about, does a catechist have access? But yeah, that is the
and I think that's a great point. And there is no charge for catechists, which is helpful. So they have all access to that student material, and they can, like you said, Jake, prepare and help to accompany these students.
So a couple more questions resonating because they kind of group together. One of them is, can you have multiple admins in the system, Jake, and to send out the invites, to do the sign-ins and things like that? The other thing is which you alluded to a little bit on the reports, mm-hmm. Those reports stay with those kiddos as they progress from second grade to third to fourth to fifth. So it is their CV. And if one of them was, I just had another parish where they moved to this parish. Does that come with them? Yes, it does. We just need to switch them over to the new parish, and all of that comes with the kiddo. Great question, by the way. But Jake, can you allude a little bit more on, if you have huge group and there's 20 plus classrooms, can you have multiple admins and instructors to facilitate that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we do recommend, just to keep things simple for accounting purposes and billing, that there is one person purchasing the seats. So whether that's your assistant, if you have a big program, or yourself, if you're the one purchasing the full bucket of seats, so I know I've got 40 first graders, you make that purchase, but if there's another admin, they are able to divvy up those seats among the students. So they're able to sign people up, enroll people, but just so it's easy and people aren't stepping over each other, we do recommend, just as a best practice, that one person be purchasing the seats. But once those seats are purchased, they're yours to use, and the other admins have that ability to split them up and add kiddos and sign everyone up. So because we know those bigger groups, it can get to be a lot. So
and we've dealt with parishes, Jake, that have that that are like that, and on the support side, if you fall into that category, or you need that kind of, you need to have something set up like that, well, just let us know and we can work with you. We can make sure people know how to make sure that you can allow those people to enroll their kids in particular classes, but still make sure that that purchase kind of stays under one roof, just because it's easier for billing. You're not getting invoices for 3 different people. It makes it a lot easier, and we'll help you navigate that. So just let us know.
Yeah, Kathy from my home state in Minnesota was asking, they've had the chance to preview some of the courses recently with the free promo going on through June for because of COVID-19. There's no contract with us necessarily. You're purchasing the license per student. So the price that's on our website now is per student. Like I said, we're exploring creative ways to make this more accessible come fall, but it is per student. And so basically, when you're set up as an admin now, your group's ready to go, you can start as soon as today getting things lined up if you want. You're not forced to a specific timeline imposed by us. It's up to you when you want to start, when you want to pull the trigger on those seats per grade, and you're off to the races getting the kiddos set up.
Yeah.
Well, I know I could talk about it just because I'm so passionate about it all day long, but I know everybody's got, a finite time frame to kind of hit. And, again, we're going to have more just based on the questions that we're getting, and we'll try to answer them all back to you, even though they're on our thread. We apologize we couldn't get to all of them, but we will get back to you as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
And look for our next one. We're going to try to pull it off next week. And like I had mentioned, and I probably shouldn't say her last name, but she is awesome. Bernadette Myers is going to be helping us, and we may we'll get some information out there, and maybe you can chat a little bit about that, and as well as build in a lot of these questions so you can ask more questions, based on that too.
Yeah. I just want to say thanks to everyone who attended today. I mean, we know people have a lot on their plate, and it's a challenging time for all of us. And know of course, we're here to serve you, but more than that, just know of our prayers for all of you out there. Like I said, being the hands and feet of Jesus to so many during this time where a lot of people need it. And public masses are canceled all over the country. If you're anything like our archdiocese, we haven't had public masses in a number of weeks, and so your work is now more important than ever, and we just want to say thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and know of our prayers for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, our next one will be with Bernadette. She doubled the size of her parish in a year, just based on the new methodology of flipping the classroom, and she's got some great ideas and resources of things that were easy for her to kind of pull off. Obviously there was some heavy lifting on the other side from her, but she'll share those things of where she was really successful at it, and we're just excited that she's willing to help us, and she's such a gift to the church.
Well, God bless everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for the next webinar and Bernadette's story. And you've got our contact information up here on the screen. You'll get this recording sent out to you once Zoom has it ready for us. And we just know, like we've continued to say, you're all in our prayers.
Yep.
God bless you all. Love you all.
Thank you so much.
You do.